premier arts and media. The challenge is creating a society that's fit for incredible young folk who come out of Columbia College and other institutions. We're doing less of that. We certainly are not working to transform the society as much as we did back in the 60s and 70s.
Well, that's too bad in a way.
Well, that's life. But you know what? You know what? But it's going to come back. Everything's a cycle. Everything's a cycle. It's coming back.
Yeah, and as proud a reality as that is for Columbia, it's pretty incredibly embarrassing for the U.S. to say that there was only one place that had open admission.
Yes, in arts. No, I want to clarify.
In the arts.
In the arts.
Right.
In the arts.
Tomorrow night's Monday night.
No problem.
Sorry, not tomorrow. Monday night's session is on militarism, war, and radicals. And you've got a panel of 4 of you. You've got a quote in here from Dwight D. Eisenhower. This promises to be very exciting.
You got Barry Romo from Vietnam Vets Against the War, Jeff Gibson, who's a current draft resistor.
No, he was a draft resistor back in the 60s and 70s and went to prison by virtue of refusing to kill in the name of whatever we want to call the name, but whatever society, the name that they make up to allow people to kill and maim other people throughout the world.
Yeah. And we're still doing it.
Well, we're still, those of us sitting at this table have been around a long time. I just turned 72. I was born in 1940. When my students tell me, this world is horrible, I remember 1940. My parents are from Eastern Europe. I was a child, and I was 2.5 years old in Brooklyn, New York. And every night before I went to sleep, I go to the gas range and turn off the gas, make certain the gas was turned off. And my mother said, "Why are you doing this?" And you're only 2.5 years old. And I said, "They're trying to kill us." And my mom said, "Who's trying to kill us?" And I said, "You know who?" And she said, "Yes, Louis, I know who." And I said, "Mom, who?" And she said, "The men. The men are trying to kill us. The patriarchy is trying to kill us. The men are crazy, there." And that's still true. So it's still true. So, I tell my students, as a young Jewish kid, the world seemed hopeless. I made it through. You're going to make it through too, but you got to get out there, and be the change that you wish to be. And I always tell my students a motto from Greenpeace, don't tell me what you believe. Tell yourself what you do each day, and you'll know what you believe. And we're going to go. We're going to keep on moving. The world is difficult, it's challenging, it always has been, and that's part of the price of being on planet Earth. If you don't want that to happen, then leave planet Earth.
Jeez.
Oh, wow. Okay, our guest that evening, Mr. Barry Romo, who went to Vietnam when he was 18 years old.
A good guy,
and
Barry.
A great guy, and Barry killed a bunch of folks there, and till he came to the realization that he was killing them in the name of an ugliness, which is the oppression of other people. Barry came back to the United States, became one of the founding members of VVAW, turned in his medals.
Vietnam Vets Against the War.
He's still working with them, and he's an incredible soul. He's going to tell his journey, what it's like to be on the ground and take life, and what that does to you, and how you transform that in such a way that you don't commit suicide.
Yeah.
Jeff Gibson was a young man who refused to go to war, became a draft resistor, and because he refused to kill, he was not honored, he was put into prison. Another panelist is myself, Louis Silverstein, who was a CO during that time, and have been working in the field of peace and conscientious objector. Yeah, young people, CO there. And I've been teaching a course on peace studies for a number of years at Columbia College, and I'll be talking about peace and justice from a historical, philosophical, and personal viewpoint.
The last time you were on this show, you had just come out with a book.
Yeah.
And it had a picture of you kind of looking like a jungle man. The book basically is a marijuana book.
Well,
tell me what it's about.
No, it's
and
more than that.
How was it received, and what's happening with it, and what's your next project?
Okay, last time I came on the show was not a marijuana book. That was before then. I wrote a book called Deep Spirit and Great Heart, Living in Marijuana Consciousness. And the idea being is that marijuana, I do believe, is a gift from the gods. Unfortunately, human beings can use those gifts and abuse them. And my role was to teach people how to use that gift so they can understand that this which came from heaven, is a tool that can be use to transform the earth. The book that I talked about last time was Encountering Life's Endings, which is a memoir about the death and dying, and it's based on the fact that at the present time, my mom's dead, my father's dead, my 3 brothers are dead. I went through an incredible journey of walking in the field of death and dying. I've worked in that field. I teach a course on death and dying, and to teach people how to face the fact that our lives are just here for a certain time, and how we can help other people and also ourselves go from being embodied to another state of consciousness in love, and that we can do this without living in pain, and we can use that as a time to forgive and love and teach us what we should be doing to each other before we're on the deathbed, and telling each other how much we love and how much we forgive each other. My next project will be a book dealing with my 50 years of teaching. I've been teaching for 50 years. I put together a book of essays and lectures and things like that that I will then share with the world.
Cool, Lou.
And how soon will that happen, Lou?
Well, when I get my next sabbatical, which is about 1.5 years. Right now, I am fully occupied with teaching, with working in the field of peace and justice, my art, and I have 2 children, man, and children are a trip. They take you to heaven, but they take you to hell, man. And if you're not ready to go to heaven and hell with your children, don't have children. Do something else.
That's good. I like that. Now, one of the things that I remember was that your son was in a pretty hot band. I know they played here once.
Yes.
And what's the latest with his musical career?
My son is still a musician. He's in the arts. It's a challenge. We spend money on taking the art of life away from people, and we refuse to spend money to give life to people through the arts. My son is still in the band, that's Fly Phoenix. He's also now in another band dealing with electronica. He's playing throughout the city of Chicago, and he's trying to figure out how to be an artist and
survive
make a living.
Right.
As Mr. Ray Charles says, it is a greenback dollar world. You got to do your arts, but you also have to learn how to make a living.
What's the name of the band?
Fly Phoenix is the name of the band, and his name is Ben Cofresi. And my daughter, who's an artist also, and she's putting together different art forms, and again trying to figure out how to be a giver of life rather than a taker of life, in a culture that values and funds the taking of life more than the giving of life.
Lou, you're so cool to listen to.
Ain't I? At 72, I'm cool.
I mean, really.
That's what happens to the old guys, though. As soon as you get old, he tells us how old he is.
No.
I do it, too. Hey, I'm 70 now.
I used to say when I was 13.
They're proud they're still here.
I was 13. I was proud to be 13.
None of us thought we'd live past 30. Let's just acknowledge
Let me
that.
ask you what the students are like these days. Now, I like to think that certainly younger people are over the gay issue a lot. They're better on race in a lot of ways. There's a lot more consciousness, I think, among younger people than perhaps there were when we started out. But your take on the students that you encounter in your classes today?
They are, in largest part, beautiful souls. As you said, Mike, gay is no longer an issue at all. Many of the things that we...
Take that, Rick Santorum.
Yeah, race, in many ways, is not an issue among them. It's still true in the larger society. I think the greatest challenge that they have is impotency, whether they're males or females. Mm-hmm. They have a kind of deep, abiding belief that no matter what they do, the world cannot change. Mm-hmm. So they tend to retreat into their private worlds and try to shut out the pain and hurt and misery of the world through means that, rather than move them into doing something, move them into sort of a state of everything is cool, man, when things are not cool. So I see one of my roles as an educator is to tell people the world can change and inform them how people just like them, their mothers and fathers, went out on the streets. They put their lives at stake there, and they brought about change. And I especially go around to the young ladies in my class and I ask them, how'd you get here? And they said, the CTA. I said, no. I said, because your mama and grandpa said, someday my granddaughter is going to college and I'm going to do what's necessary. If your grandma and grandpa could do that, then you can do that too. So that's the greatest challenge. They're
Hallelujah.
Wonderful. Let's get them out. We got, but we also, still have to remain true to what we believe in and continue working on, be the change you wish to see in the world.
Sounds like you need somebody teaching a class called, I don't know, Movements for Social Change.
Yeah, something like Michael. We need Michael back at Columbia College,
I'm
organizing
ready
for
to start
social
teaching again.
change. Definitely.
We're going to need to have you help us put the first 35 years book together for this place.
Okay.
Because you have experience publishing, and we want to do that real soon. Speaking of which, it's summertime at the Heartland, so half our audience is now out on the patio. That's why you don't hear the huge applause that you normally
let's hear some applause from everyone who's in here.
Yeah,
Show them. Hey, just show them where it's at. Yeah, live from the Heartland Show every Saturday morning. WLUW 887 Chicago Sound Alliance.
Okay, Lou, we got about 2 minutes left for you. Anything you want to invite people to think about, or besides come to the event?
Again, Monday night, 6 to 7:30, Chicago Culture Center. It's free. I like to end with some words from Tim O'Brien, the things they carried, in light of the fact of this young man who last week went out and killed this whole bunch of people, which has been going on all forever. And this is Tim O'Brien's words. A true war story is never moral. It does not instruct, nor encourage virtue, nor suggest models of moral behavior, nor restrain men from doing the things that men have always done. If a war story seems normal, do not believe it. If at the end of the war story you feel uplifted, or if you feel that a small bit of rectitude has been salvaged from the larger waste, then you have been made a victim of a very old and terrible lie. There is no rectitude whatsoever. There is no virtue. You can tell a true war story by its absolute and uncompromising allegiance to obscenity and evil. This young man who committed that act, it is a terrible act, but he committed an act that is more terrible because it was an act done under the name of war, which is legalized domestic violence. We are a human family, and we have no right to kill and maim other members of our family. It is domestic violence. Okay, out of sight. Let's go.
Wow. Lou Silverstein, Monday night, Militarism, War, and Radicals, 7:30 p.m. 6 p.m. to 7:30 at
Chicago Cultural Center,
At
first
the
floor,
Cultural
Garland Room.
Oh, that's terrific. The
Thank you.
wonderful place at the
All right, we want to thank
Cultural
all of our
Center.
guests who came on the show today. I want to thank Nina Gospich and Hugh Aguilar, who told us a little bit about the Nelson Algren 23rd annual birthday party next week, March 24th, in Wicker Park Arts Center. That's 2215 West North. We want to thank Al Goldberg, who told us about the Howard Berkman Memorial that's going to take place at the Red Line Tap tomorrow at noon, or excuse me, at 1 o'clock, and there'll be a lot of music. And we want to thank my old boss, my buddy Lou Silverstein, Distinguished Professor of Humanities at Columbia College, for telling us about the Militarism, War, and Radicals event happening Monday night.
And we want to thank Paul and Mary, Angel, Eli, Lisa, Laura, all people who make this show happen. We want to ask you to go out into the world, do all the good you can, because the world needs all the good you can do. All power to the people.
Yeah, all power to the people. We'll be back
Over and
next
out.
week. And we're not sure who our guests are next week, so get ready for the big surprise.
Everybody vote on Tuesday, please.
We'll see you. All power to the people, over and out.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
Apparently it came across okay. We had